Okay, so Morty, what seems to be the problem? All right, so what is wrong with 48, Morty? Well, what times what is 1, Morty? So there would be a 1 here and a 1 here. 7a, 7a, minus, minus. You see what I'm saying, right? And so that is technically 7a minus 1 squared. All right? Yes, ma'am. Let's look at 68, please. Okay, so I know this is a perfect square because 16 and 81 are perfect squares. Agreed? So I think it should be 4x minus 9 squared. You see that, right? Because 36 and 36 makes 72. All right?
Yeah.
Somebody else. Recognizing patterns.
I have two. 63.
Hold on. Let's do 63. Come on now. 63 should be pretty easy because 64 is a perfect square and 25 is a perfect square, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it should be 8r plus 5 squared. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
And if you're not able to see that, right, I want you to tell me if you're not sure, but if you look right like this, 40 and 40 makes 80, right?
Yeah.
There you go. That's how you just easily check it. What else? Quickly.
14.
Let's look at 14 now. Same principle. What is it now? You got this. Come on, tell me.
I got prime, but
No.
it would be 3h.
Good.
And then you would do 10 plus 10 squared.
There you have it.
Okay.
Simple as that. Charlie.
72.
Now the problem here, Charlie, you have to factor out a 2x. Do you agree? There's a GCF. So the first thing you want to do is put 2x. Then there's x squared plus 20x plus 100. Now I want everybody to be able to look at that and say, well, that's a perfect square. All right, that's just 2x parentheses x plus 10 squared. You see that? You good with that, Charlie? All right. Somebody else. Is everybody agreeing? Patterns, right? Recognizing patterns. Same thing over and over and over. All right? Same thing. All right? Okay, so now I really need your attention today. A lot of people find this difficult. It is super, uh-oh. Oh, we have one more. Mr. Stauffer.
83.
83, so this must be the really hard one. All right? We can factor out an 8x, right? That becomes x squared minus 4, 8x, x plus 2 times x minus 2. Right? Okay. Now, factoring by grouping. All right? That's what this is called, factoring by grouping. So essentially, all right, you need to really pay attention. Most of the time, you're going to factor twice. All right, you're going to factor twice. All right, so look up, please. In this bucket right here, and in this bucket right here, what is common? What is common?
2.
Anybody else? Nope. Somebody else. Yeah, the a plus 2 is common. That's why it's in parentheses. You can't just pull out an a. You just can't pull out a 2. You pull out that quantity. Please watch me now. This is common with this. Does everybody see that? So I pull what out of the bucket? I pull a plus 2 out of the bucket. What's left behind in the first bucket? What's left behind in the second bucket?
2.
That's all there is to it. All right? That's all there is to it. All right, now before you ask me a question, all right, I'm going to see how good I am, and I'm going to everybody look at number 4. Number 4 is very similar to number 1. All right, let's see if you understand what I'm saying. So, tell me. Perfect. Hold up. Y plus 1 is common. And then A minus B. Come on, guys. What?
Well, what? Because there's 2 y plus 1. Does it want to be squared?
No, remember we factored out. Just like we factored out over here. And we'll go to this one right here. There was a common 8x. We didn't pull out x squared. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You factored it out. All right? Now, again, I want to show you this just to make sure. If, watch, look up, everybody. If I were to take a plus 1 and distribute it, now you should be able to follow me. Please watch. If I were to distribute a or y plus 1, I would go y plus 1 times what? A, and then I would do what? Times negative b. Does everybody see that now? That help you? Right? That's all I did. I distributed a y plus 1. We're just used to distributing like a 3 or a 5 or a 5x squared or something along that line. But you can distribute a quantity. You can distribute a quantity. Everybody okay with that? All right. Now, I'm just going to, so the answer for number 2, you can write it down, but I'm not going to. Tell me.
X plus y times 3 plus a.
Yes, x plus y is in parentheses, 3 plus a. All right, number 3. Come on, someone else. Be brave. Sam.
X minus 3 and plus a.
Yeah, guys, come on. That's super, super easy. All right. Now what I want to do is I want to get into number, I'm just going to go ahead and write those because I want to go ahead and x plus y, 3 plus a, and then over here x minus 3, and then m plus k. All right. Now, number 5. Here we go, guys. Does everybody agree 5 looks different? All right. So now, the biggest complaint I have was kids say, well, how do I know how to factor, right, if I just have one problem in front of me? So far, we've been breaking them down into different types, correct? But then as we go down the page, they're all mixed up. And so your job is like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to figure out how to do it? All right. So factoring by grouping, listen, factoring by grouping is when you have how many terms? Generally 4 terms. All right, generally 4 terms. All right. So that's the first thing you need to remember. Factoring by grouping is when you have 4 terms. All right, so now, all right, to factor by grouping, here's what I want you to do. Always going to be 4 terms. So what you're doing is you're going to group them in sets of 2. And then over here, notice I'm putting parentheses around the plus. All right, very, very simple, simple, simple. All right, now you look at this and you tell me what's common with x squared plus 3x. There's a common what?
X.
Yeah, so now everybody's going to write down x, open parentheses. If I pull out an x, what's left behind? X plus 3. Is everybody happy with that? Now look, guys, I'm telling you, you got to stay with me right now. You got to stay with me. Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah.
All right. Now you look at the next one and you say, what is common with the next 2? And that would be a what? Now, the only thing I want you to remember is you don't say 2y, you say a positive 2y. All right? Or you might say negative 2y. But in this case, it's a what? Positive 2y. And then what's left behind? X plus what?
4.
3.
X plus 3 because you're dividing numbers. You're dividing numbers. Now, how do I know this is done correctly? So now you got to pay attention one more time. I know it's done correctly because this group is the same as what? That group. That's always going to work out that way. It will always work out that way. And then you recognize this is just like the other problems we did, which makes it very simple. So your answer is just what? Your answer is X plus 3, which was common, and then what was left behind?
X plus 2y.
X plus 2y. All right? Now, ask.
Where do you get the 3 on the second one?
6 divided by 2. Right? We divide numbers. Okay, that actually is very hard. All right? That's very hard. All right? So factoring by grouping is kind of annoying for kids because you got to factor like 3 times. All right? You initially factor GCF, and then you factor again what's common. All right? I promise you, it'll just take a little bit of practice. It's really simple. What?
So where do I get the 2y?
What is 6 divided by 2? Right? So essentially what there was there was a common 2y, right? See that? And there was a common x.
Oh.
So I pulled out the x plus 3 and I was left x plus 2y. You hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do the next one. All right, same principle. All right, here we go. Factor by grouping. Here, 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 here. Okay, what's common?
4.
Come on, everybody. Y. What's left behind?
Y minus 5w.
Beautiful. All right, now what's common?
4.
No.
Oh.
You have to tell me what type of 4.
Wait, what?
Positive 4. Now, how do I know if I factor out a positive or negative? You always factor out whatever this sign is. All right, so we're factoring out a what, guys?
Positive 4.
Positive 4, and then what's left behind?
Y.
Y minus 5w. Does everybody agree with that? Yes? All right. Equals.
Y minus 5w. Y plus 4.
I'm telling you, it's simple, simple, simple. All right? Simple. Everybody hearing me?
Yes.
Everybody good? That's not bad. All right, let's find number 7 now. All right, 7's a little bit different, so here we go. What's common?
Y.
Thank you. And then,
Negative 3.
no. When we factor out the y, we get what?
We got x
X plus 4.
Okay, now if you were paying attention, we know what to factor out now.
negative 2.
Yeah, negative 2. Because the sign is negative, you factor out a negative. And when you factor out a negative, you're left with what? X plus 4. Now you know you're right because these two will always be what? They'll always be the same. So now my answer is
X plus 4, y minus 2.
beautiful. X plus 4, y minus 2. Everybody happy? Everybody happy?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Let's try number 8. All right. Okay, let's see how you're doing. Factor by grouping. All right, what am I factoring? B. I'm left with,
A plus 7.
and then factoring A, left with.
A plus 7.
Come on. What am I left with?
A plus 7.
Beautiful. Equals.
A plus 7.
Now, guys, believe it or not, that's hard. All right. I just with proper practice, it's really simple, actually. It's really, really, really simple. All right. Now, I think I'm in good shape, so what I want to do is I think it's time for me to just go down the page. So let's start with number 10. All right, let's go. What's common? X. I'm left with A plus B. Now look, the other thing I get irritated at, honestly, is, guys, if you're not participating, you're not helping yourself. The same people just say the same thing over and over and over. Jump in for yourself. I want it to be kind of everybody in unison, all right? But if you're struggling, I don't know that you're struggling unless you speak up, all right? So please speak up, all right? So now, what am I factoring, guys?
-1.
Negative y, and I'm left with
A plus B.
beautiful. Final answer.
A plus B, X minus Y.
Yeah, there you go. Much better. Much better. Come on now. What?
Oh no, I got it.
All right.
+2.
Now, the only way you know if you know what you're doing is to try to get 13 before I do.
+2.
All right. So here we go. Grouping. All right. What's common?
+2.
2x. I'm left with
A plus 3.
a plus
3C.
3c. What's common?
+2.
Positive b. I'm left with
A plus 3C.
very simple. Final answer.
A
plus
plus
3C,
3C,
2x
2x plus B.
How about it? Is the next one factoring by grouping? No, there's not 4 terms. So now you have to think a little bit, right? So now we just have to do the, is there anything common? Is there a GCF? No. So now we're doing it, 2 sets of parentheses. All right, how do I break down 2x squared?
2x and 2x.
2x and x. The only factors of 1, 1 and 1. I need -3. -1 and -1. Look how simple. Right? Everybody good? All right, here we go. 19, 2 sets of parentheses.
4x and
2x,
2x.
I think 2x and 2x is going to do it. And then 3 and 1. Now you're visualizing the 6 and the 2, plus 3, and plus 1, because I want plus 8. All right? Everybody okay? Like I said, if you're not as quick as that, all right, you didn't have the practice. All right? I don't think that was that bad. All right, here we go again. 22. 2 sets of parentheses. 2x and x. Now let's do just the factors first. Let's don't put the plus or minus in. 1 and 2. There you go. 1 on the left, 2 on the right. And now
-2 plus 1.
-2 and a plus 1. Come on, guys. Good? All right, here we go. Factors of 12.
4 and 3.
I'm going to do 4 and 3 because I told you to start with the middle factors. Now, where does 2 have to go?
Right.
It has to go on the right because it can't go with the 4. Now make the smiley face. How much? How much?
2.
3 and 8. So I can make -5 if. So I need the 1 to be positive and the 2 to be. Is everybody happy with that? All right, you should be getting better. Sam. All right.
Oh wait, could you do number 12?
I'm going down the page. Right? Is 12 something way on the other side? Factoring by grouping.
Yes.
Come on. Hey, just shush. All right? I don't care who it was. All right? Just be quiet. We'll get to it in a minute. Let's finish going down the page. All right? Now, is 28 a perfect square? It looks like it, but is it really?
No.
It's not. All right? So again, I'm not expecting you to know it's a perfect square unless you're on the previous worksheet. Here, just gotta see if it's right. Okay? So here, I said start with the middle factors, and if we start with the middle factors, is that correct? No, right? Because that would be 4 and 4, which makes 8, not 10. That's how I know it's not a perfect square. So now instead of 4 and 4,
8 and 2.
yeah, of course, we can do 8 and what?
2.
8 and 2. And then they would both be plus. All right? Now, again, at this point, you're supposed to be able to see 4 and 4 is not going to work. All right? Let's go down. Number 31. What do we got? So here we go. 5x and 2x. And then 1 and 1. So plus 1, minus 1. Everybody happy with that? All right, let's check out number 34. This is grouping because we recognize there are 4 terms. That's how easy to recognize. Here we go. All right, what's common? 2x squared, open parentheses, what's left behind? Plus 4. Okay, now here's a great problem. Is there anything really common? So we say there's a common plus 1. Thank you. Common plus 1. And then parentheses, x plus 4. And so now that factors to x plus 4, 2x squared plus 1. Beautiful. Everybody good? All right, now let's look at 37. Another grouping one. X squared, parentheses, plus 3, and then positive 4, and then
x plus 3, x squared.
all right, hopefully you're happy with that. All right, now let's take a look at 40.
3x squared.
I'm agreeing with you. 3x squared. What am I left with?
3x.
3x
Minus 4.
minus 4, right? Now what's common?
1.
Positive 1. What am I left with?
3x.
3x minus 4. So,
3x.
and then,
3x squared plus 1.
all right, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, again, get through all the problems and you'll be a master of factoring. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to see, which might cause some trouble. I don't know which one did you say, what? All right, I'm not sure why 12 is hard, but let's take a look at 12. Factoring by grouping. So I'm looking at a 3x. What's left?
X
minus 2.
And then, what am I factoring out here? Positive 2. All right, so believe it or not, does that factor by grouping? No. Then we just say it's what? Yeah, that's nice.
From the prime.
Prime. It doesn't factor. I actually just think they left out the y, right? But again, that's just a good example. If it doesn't factor, it's prime. Because these numbers have to be what? These have to be the same in order to do factor by grouping. All right? So let's take a look now. I'm trying to see if there's something else. No, I don't think so. All right. So now, you guys, try to finish. All right. Now, the thing is, guys, please listen carefully to me. This up here I want done also. If you didn't quite get done, that's okay. All right. You got today and tomorrow to finish the last 2 pages. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Get it done. Good job. Very good.
So 2x